Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Security in New York City. I'm here with Rich from Duo. Rich, how you doing?
Great to be here.
So Duo, can you unpack a little bit about what you guys do?
So Duo Security, I guess the best known product that we have is a two-factor authentication product that really combines ease of use, good UX, and security, which are two things that people often feel are diametrically opposed. You'll hear a lot of times that you can be secure or you can be usable, but you can't be both. And we believe that we came up with a fantastic two-factor authentication solution that was both, and people enjoy to use it, much better than the hard tokens that you have a pocket full of. And that's really the core of the company, and we've grown from there, and really now about protecting access to applications, depending on both your devices that you're accessing from and obviously the person that is using that device.
So is this for consumers, or is this for security professionals, or enterprise IT departments, or who is it for?
So we service a range of customers. Certainly B2B is our main focus. So helping companies secure access to their environments for their employees. So we have a huge SMB market, obviously an enterprise market, and we really try and facilitate companies to be able to roll out effective security for their organizations and not to put too many roadblocks in the way of their employees. Obviously, their employees have work to do, they've got jobs that they want to get done, and they want to be secure, but they don't want to be overly inconvenienced. And we try and allow the company to strike that balance between easy to use security that has a huge impact on their security posture.
Are there any patterns in the types of companies that come to you and say, hey, we've been having a problem doing X or Y, or are there things that they're challenged with that you see over and over?
So I think secure access is a relatively universal problem. People want to make sure that the people that are accessing their applications and their environment are the right people, that they're authorized to do so. And that really cuts across all industry verticals. However, we do have a huge number of EDUs that really latch onto our product. Again, I think through the ease of use, their student bodies, they have tens of thousands of students often, and they want to make sure that those students are accessing things securely, but they don't want to add a huge burden to them. So EDUs are a big part of our business, but I would say over time it's grown across all industry verticals because it's a very common problem that's shared by everybody.
And is the two-step authentication, the two-factor authentication, is it slowing down the way people interact, or the way they get online, or the way they receive an email or anything like that? Is there a performance hit because of?
It shouldn't slow down. One of the metrics that we do track is that kind of time it takes to complete the authentication. So username, password, that can be very quick. You type that in, you hit enter, and then you're in. Adding a second step does slow down that authentication stage. But we want to make that as quick and easy as possible. And again, we believe Duo Push allows that to happen very quickly. You can authorize the push from your watch if that's something that you have paired with your device. So it should be as quick and seamless as possible. And we believe that the technology that we have is far quicker than a hard token, far quicker than waiting to receive an SMS and then put in the number. Yeah. Also is far less error prone and gives more context around the authentication request that has come in.
With new technologies, like on the new MacBooks, there's the fingerprinting technology. Can you have that be part of the two-step?
You can. Actually, I work in Duo Labs, which is the research arm of Duo Security, and questions like that are exactly the kind of work that we do. So experimenting and prototyping out as new technology hits the market, how can we extend our products and use the new technologies which are becoming more pervasive to, again, ease the burden on users. Ideally, the secure thing to do should be the easiest thing to do. And as new technologies come out from Apple, from Intel, part of my role in the teams that I run's role is to evaluate how can we take advantage of these new technologies and put them to use for the consumer to make things even easier. So yes, in the lab we've got some prototypes where fingerprints are being used, and again that quickens up that authentication process, and people seem to like using that method.
Or Retina, like on my S8, my Galaxy S8, I can authenticate with my eyes.
And obviously
the Mac
new
could
iPhone
do that
10,
too, probably, right?
It depends on the camera.
Right.
There are definitely some base technology requirements. So, for example, the new iPhone 10 has Face ID.
Yep.
Apple, the authentication kit that Apple makes available to developers to build solutions, makes taking advantage of that new technology very, very easy, in the same way that they made the thumbprint recognition very easy.
So let me ask, do you see more B2C people aware that they need better security, or do you see more B2B aware they need security?
Our focus as Duo is definitely B2B. That's been where our focus has traditionally been. If we're taking a step back and looking at the industry trends in general, there has definitely been a healthy adoption in B2C two-factor authentication as well, and that's very encouraging. I think there's a combination of factors that have gone into that. General awareness that strong authentication is a good thing, and it's one of those, if you do nothing else, enable 2FA, and you've really kind of gone further up the tree. You're a much harder target than if you just had a single factor authentication. And then some of the big players, Google, Facebook, Twitter, really getting on board and encouraging people to enable these technologies, good awareness, education material from them, and then new standards like the U2F standard from the FIDO Alliance, industry adoption of that, meaning that you could have one key. YubiKeys are the ones that are very common. We use YubiKeys at Duo. We're big fans of them and love the flexibility that they have. But that one key can act as a U2F token, and then you can use that for your Facebook, for Twitter.
And that's this, right?
That's right.
Right.
And that one key can help you secure authentication to everything. Again, it's a great usability experience. Just touch it and then you can authenticate. It's got very good security and privacy properties in
So
it.
this integrates with your technology as well.
So we're great friends with the Yubico people. We love their we love their tokens. Internally at Duo, we use those tokens. We definitely buy into the security that those tokens can add. But YubiKeys can be integrated into the Duo services. So if your users like that form factor of authentication, like U2F in particular, then we can kind of build that in, and that can be a different modality of authentication.
This is like having the little thumb thing on the MacBook Pro, which is actually just on your device.
Slightly different. So the YubiKeys and U2F in general requires a step of user presence. This means that if your system was compromised, it had been attacked through some other vulnerability, someone would not be able to programmatically through software complete that second factor authentication step. You have to physically touch the button. There's no way that you can do that from software. So it's really just acknowledging that there's a user presence, which is different than a biometric read or a fingerprint, which is making sure that you are the person that is touching that fingerprint reader, rather than there is a human that is touching this second factor device. So they're solving slightly different problems, but for U2F, user presence is really what the protocol is designed around. For UAF or WebAuthn, that's really when you can start to extend a lot of that protocol out into biometric form factors as well. And WebAuthn is one of those standards that we see is going to maybe 12 to 18 months really start to be impacting the industry more widely.
Are there some serious issues on our horizon? So if you and I sit down 12 months from now and have a conversation again next year here, and we talk about what's different for you guys at Duo, but also what's different in the market, are we hurtling fast forward and a little recklessly fast forward, or are we in good shape? What do you see?
So I think, I would say that there's always going to be security challenges. The way that we think about, or the research teams at Duo think about security, is it's a pretty reactionary landscape. So as technology evolves, there's new great technologies coming out all the time, obviously at pace and at an increasing pace. The misuse of those technologies is what we really want to be able to try and predict and try and get out ahead of. The security landscape is always going to respond to that technology landscape, however that's going. So we're definitely going forward fast, but that makes it an exciting area to work in and to research.
Chicken and egg, right?
Absolutely. And in terms of in 12 months' time, where might we be? This is going to be one of those interviews that is going to come back and haunt me, because
in 3 months.
In 3 months, because I'll be wrong. But I believe that strong authentication is going to continue to be just a base level requirement, almost like table stakes. Passwords are a really poor way to authenticate individuals for a whole range of reasons, when we've seen the impacts that can come from weak passwords or reusing passwords. And two-factor really is a very simple way that you can add extra protection into that authentication process. And I don't believe that's going to go away anytime soon. So I think that's going to become table stakes and is going to continue to commoditize the areas that may be more innovative and more interesting. Things that I would definitely encourage people to kind of watch evolve over the next 12 months will be things like Google's Beyond Corp initiative. So this is where they've essentially turned their networks inside out. All of their internal services are internet facing, and they have very, very fine-grained control in how you can access those services from BYOD devices, so it's not even a device that maybe the company controls itself, and obviously that's a trend that we're seeing increasingly prevalent. And so kind of zero trust networking, Beyond Corp, I think that's going to become a paradigm that is going to become more and more widely adopted. And that's in tandem with an increasing use of cloud services and software as a service products, which are not going to go anywhere in 12 months' time. Making sure that you're securing access to those services, even when they're residing outside of your corporate network, is really going to be a trend that lots of people have to get on board. And I think Google have done a great job with the vision that they've painted out with Beyond Corp. Duo Beyond is a commercially available implementation of the Beyond Corp model, so makes it very easy to adopt a very, very security-forward posture for your company and really be ahead of the curve in terms of how you're designing your network to be very cloud-centric.
This is how quickly that curve comes, right?
Yeah. And maybe if I could predict that, I'll probably be a lot richer than I am at the moment.
Yeah. Rich, thank you very much.
Lovely to chat.